What's that feeling like? Are they really, or do you find that most students are on board with the teachers?
I wouldn't even say most. I would say almost like 99% of students, because we personally see the sacrifices they put in, the effort that they put in to kind of bring us our learning and provide us a good environment to be in schools. And, they put in a lot of work into extracurriculars as well.
I am so excited today to be joined by Evan Lee. He's 17 years old. He is from Calgary. And if you remember, about a few weeks ago, he was at an Alberta Next town hall where he went up to ask a question specifically around public education and at the time, what was the pending teacher strike, which we are now in the midst of. He asked specifically about private and charter schools receiving public tax dollars, and his mic was cut off. And Bruce McAllister, who was the moderator, said that he should be bent over his parents' knees and essentially beaten. And what has taken place since then has been a media storm. I've seen Evan's face everywhere on every single news channel. He's on Instagram now. He is famous for supporting Alberta teachers. So, Evan, thank you so much for being here today and talking with me.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
So, kind of tell me what it was like that night. Tell me what it felt like in the moment when your mic was cut off and the reaction from the crowd, and then sort of lead me through what took place following that, the hours following that incident, because it went really viral really fast.
Yeah, so me and my friends, I was like at school with my friends, right? And in the week before the town hall, and there was, talk of a strike happening, but no one really knew what was going on, not even our teachers knew kind of what was going on. So then my friend in my economics class says, "Oh, we should. There's this town hall happening, and they're still like selling or no, like offering reservations, right, or like tickets." And and he was like, "Oh, we should go to this town hall and kind of ask directly, have a chance to ask the premier and the government directly. What are they going to do about this strike?" And also, we had heard about the funding for private schools. So I said, "Oh yeah, let's go. Sounds like a great idea." So we drove to the town hall, and we got there pretty early, I think. And then, kind of the questions went on, and then I saw on the news, I was looking at my phone, and that the teachers had voted, I think it was like 89% in favor of striking. So then I decided this is a great opportunity to kind of ask a question towards the premier on what are they going to do about this strike? How are they going to kind of address this issue that's facing us youth, right? So then I line up at the microphone and my turn comes and I ask the question, and then at first I thought the microphone had some sort of malfunction, right? Because I think this was the second, only maybe first time they had cut someone's mic in this town hall. I don't remember the details, but it was like I at first I thought like shock, right, and surprise, because I never thought in my mind that didn't even occur to me that they would just censor me, right? And I thought the question I hadn't even begun asking my question. I think it was around like 10 or 15 seconds into like my intro. I said, "Well, my name is Evan Lee. I'm a high school student. A lot of my high school students are wondering what's gonna happen." Then I decided, because people in the crowd might not know, right? So I said, "Oh, they've just voted in favor of striking." And then my next question would have been, "So given this, shouldn't we just, if the public teachers are facing stress, shouldn't we just allocate some of the private school funding towards public schools? Because I think they fund 295 million towards accredited private schools, and then the other 200 of almost half a billion is given to early childcare facilities, is what CBC has been saying." So yeah, and then he made those comments, right? At first, I had, that's a very deprecated way of saying kind of spank someone. It's like turning over your knee. Even me and my friends didn't actually know what that meant. So in the moment, again, I felt surprised because the crowd is booing. They were saying like, "Oh, that was extremely rude. That was appalling." Um, and I actually didn't know what that meant. But when I went home and I kind of like thought over the situation, it occurred to me that oh, what he said was completely unacceptable. And I actually found out what that phrase meant, and it was a deplorable comment. And I don't even know how he came up with that in the moment. And it's just very surprising. And then yeah.
Did you talk to your parents when you came home? Because I mean, you're 17. Obviously, you probably live with your parents. And did you tell them about the situation? And what did they think? What was their reaction?
Yeah, I just said because I told my mom like while I was there I said like I told my parents, oh, I'm at this town hall, my friend's parents are gonna drop me off home, I'll be back like around I think it was 8 or 9, and then I come home and I say, oh, funny thing happened. I was asking the question and they cut my mic off, and they said, oh, that's weird, and yeah, they also felt like confused, like surprised, confused, and then the next day after like I woke up, I got so many emails, and then it finally clicked that this is something that's sort of become like a controversy, and he shouldn't have said that.
And when it started taking off in the media, what was the reaction from your peers at school and people that are around your age? What was their reaction? Were they supportive of you? What did they think about it initially?
It's been very motivating and very heartening to see all the support. I mean, across the political spectrum, this is, a universal issue, right? It's all of us youth. No matter if you're in school, it affects you. Um, so even at the town hall, like in person, after the town hall kind of ended and, the premier walked off the kind of stage, like people came up to me and said, you're very courageous for asking that question, especially as like a kid. And it was wrong that they kind of cut you off and said that. So there was a lot of people that came up to me after the town hall in person and also online. My friends have also been very before this they weren't even kind of up to date on like the political things happening in Alberta, but now I think youth have been kind of thrust into this space.
And do you think that most people your age that say you're going to school with are supportive of the teachers, or do they believe that they should be back at school and they should just accept what the government has offered them? What's that feeling like? Are they really? Or do you find that most students are on board with the teachers?
I wouldn't even say most. I would say almost like 99% of students, because we personally see the sacrifices they put in, the effort that they put in to kind of bring us our learning and provide us a good environment to be in schools. And they put in a lot of work into extracurriculars as well. They have to coach sports, run supervise clubs for us, and because we see this, obviously we stand in full support of the teachers. And everyone I've met, I've been going to. I was at a Calgary athlete student rally the other day, and even the athletes, they're missing tournaments, games. I think their season has been postponed to like early November, but that's the furthest they can push it. So they might miss their entire season, and the issue with that is scouts from UC and Mount Royal, they actually need to watch the games, right? And this is they are losing this very important opportunity. But given that, they still stand with their teachers, and I saw so many of them holding up signs like, don't use our education as a bargaining chip. And it is unfortunate that, us as grade 12s have to live through this during our grade 12 year, which is so important. But I think that given that we still support the teachers, that's a very, very poignant thing that is occurring.
And so I guess for a lot of people that are in grade 11 and 12, they're going to be voting in the next election if it's held when it's supposed to be held. And a lot of people are going to be asking the question, is this going to motivate a youth vote that is primarily against the UCP? What do you think about that? Do you think that do you think that's going to affect the UCP in the next election?
It is true that most of us are going to be voting. A lot of us turn 18 in the next few years and in the next few months even. And I do think, ignoring the issues that affect us youth, is alienating us, right? Is alienating the next kind of electorate in the next election. And you know, it's a lot of us have also been very vocal about this. It's not that we don't care. We have seen in history, decreased voter turnout for the younger generation. But I think that, given that there has been so much lack of oversight from issues that affect us, that we are eventually the entire youth voter base of Alberta is going to realize that in order to effectively create change, we need to effectively create pressure, and regardless of where people stand politically, I think there will be increased voter turnout and increased kind of support of enacting change for youth. And yeah, for regarding the UCP, I think the next few months, the next couple months, will decide whether us youth will continue to kind of stay silent about this, or speak out about some of the things that the UCP has been, the rhetoric that's been happening among us youth.
As a young person, I mean, you're going to be graduating high school, you're going to be, maybe going to university. I don't know exactly what your plans are after you're done high school, but, I'm assuming maybe you're going to university, maybe you're working full time, you're probably going to kind of want to start more of an independent life at some point. What are the things that you're most concerned about as a young person that you think sort of the leaders, whether it be provincial or federal, have some control over, where they could make a difference? What are those things that you're most worried about that you wish our leaders could do something about?
That's a great question. First of all, of course, education, right? That's the main issue that everyone's talking about right now. And one thing that I want to kind of emphasize is we've been talking a lot about kind of private schools, charter schools, things like that. And I do recognize that some of these private schools, they do provide a more specialized learning environment for those with special needs, and that is a good thing. But I think regardless of whether we're discussing kind of the funding that goes towards private schools, the issue, the kind of friction point that's occurring with a lot of the discussion is that private schools are able to pick and choose who comes into their school environment, right? They're able to pick, it could be high achieving students, or it could be, students with special needs, or it could be, students of a particular other group. And, I think that's kind of the issue that a lot of us youth are also concerned about. It's the fact that we see school as not just kind of a learning place, because we can look up textbooks online, right? And we have been forced to doing that this week. But what we lose is that connection to our peers, to our teachers, that kind of school community. It's the same thing that happened during COVID, during the pandemic. And I think that's, we saw the kind of isolating effect that it has. And mental health is already an issue for a lot of us grade 12s. We're stressed about university applications, maybe missing our diplomas that might be canceled, or also, missing school. And I think that's going to be the issue about education. Is not just learning. It's about us socially. And other issues that I'm kind of concerned about socially, and what I've been hearing from my peers as well, is, safety, right? When we youth take the public transit, right? We don't have access to a car, and I think not only safety but also the efficacy and reliability of public transit is another issue that a lot of people have been talking about. Like just in general conversation, and I think those are the kind of main two things, and also yeah, providing us youth more opportunities to kind of speak our voice is also something that I'd like to see.
And now that we've kind of got through this media storm and you've got newfound fame, what do you think is next for you? Are you going to continue to be an advocate for youth going forward, or what's sort of your plan, or are you not sure?
Um, so people call me kind of like this big political advocate, but I think I was just a student that had that opportunity, that unique opportunity, and I decided to take it. And it was unfortunate that I was cut down. And then I was then given a platform from this opportunity that I took again this opportunity to speak out for students and for teachers. But it's not just me, anyone can do it, right? I've seen so much passionate youth that have been, speaking out their voices, and I've been also, featuring them on my platform and providing them that opportunity. And I think for what's next for me is continuing to empower other youth, right? Other youth around me, and aggregate their issues all together and kind of present this towards the people who kind of are, you know, like viewing my perspectives.
That's great. Well, I think you've done a great thing. I think you've done a brave thing that I know when I was 17, I wouldn't have gotten up at that mic and said anything. So I commend you for that. And I thank you so much for being here today. And I'm sure that I'm going to hear your name come up in the future as it relates to politics. So I think you have a very bright future. But thanks for joining me today.
No worries. And I just want to say one more thing is that I have a message to students. Students, we need to stay strong throughout this, and we need to continue, working on ourselves and continuing to kind of lock in, right? And for teachers, we fully stand with you, whatever it takes, and we know that it impacts us, but we will continue to stand with you. And we hope that a deal is reached soon and we can return to school soon. And that is done by creating pressure upon those in power to push for a deal. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks so much for being here.